so let me now jump right into it. So first things first, when you think of credit repair or credit restoration, when you go to an attorney and you pay them $129 and $100 every single month to dispute on your behalf, what everyone's doing, whether you're doing it yourself or you're paying someone to do it for you, everyone is utilizing the verbiage and the rules and regulations that are inside of something called the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or we say it short, the FCRA. The FCRA. The FCRA, it was created in the 1970s. The whole point of the document is to make sure that the credit reporting agencies, your Experians, your TransUnions, your Equifax, and even some of the smaller credit reporting agencies. This is the document that we have as consumers to make sure that those guys play by the rules, that they play fair, that they don't do anything shady or shisty. If we didn't have the FCRA as consumers, if something was wrong on our credit report, if there was an error on our credit report that was prohibiting me to get a loan, a home loan, an auto loan, whatever the case may be, there will be nothing in place to make them do what is right, which is get rid of the derogatory items or the inaccurate items. So the FCRA is for us. It helps us as the consumer. So I needed to say that straight off the bat because it is the foundation for everything that I'm about to go over. All right, so to avoid reading too much text and making this video super long, I just want to read one or two sentences, actually, about two sentences to show you exactly why I think disputing online and doing it digitally is actually hurting you long term. Let me just read this right here. The Consumer Credit Reporting Reform Act of 1996 made extensive revisions to the FCRA in a number of areas. First, it expanded the duties of the CRAs, or the credit reporting agency, the big players that I mentioned before, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, and the other smaller reporting agencies, particularly in regard to the CRA responses to consumer disputes, establishing a 30-day time frame for completion of an investigation, mandating written notice to the consumer of the results of the investigation within 5 days of its completion, and adding restrictions on the reinsertion of items that were deleted following a dispute. That may or may not make sense to you, but all you need to know is what we do in trying to get our credit reports cleaned up. It is through these sentences which allows us to do that. And if you try to dispute through Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, Credit Karma, if you try to do it digitally and you don't do it in the way that it was originally meant to be disputed, which was by mail, 30 days, they have to actually take the time out to investigate the dispute and then come back and give us what they found in the investigation, how they arrived at this conclusion. They need to provide any sort of documentation of how they came to this conclusion. They need to give us that. So what we do when we make the decision to say, I'm not going to print out my disputes and mail it out certified mail, I'm just going to hit one button. So here is what you're doing when you decide to do it the easy way and you want to hit 2, 3 buttons and dispute digitally. Here's what you're agreeing to, and here is what you are waiving, the rights that you're waiving. As you can see, I am on Experian.com, and this is their terms of service page. You can see it's incredibly long, it's incredibly boring, it's a lot of words. But this is, I'm just giving you the highlights. All you need to know about is the highlights. If you want to read this later on, feel free to do it. Under section 23, please read this carefully. It affects your rights. You've probably been on Experian, you've probably been on Credit Card, you've probably been on these sites a whole bunch of times. So you've probably seen the commercials of Experian Boost, like I've increased my score 20 points, and just like all of those advertisements. Do you actually read the terms of service when we actually like jump into that? Do like I know we don't read it. That's why they are putting like essays. But here is what's interesting in the terms of service that no one reads. We each agree to resolve those disputes through binding arbitration or small claims court instead of in courts of general jurisdiction to the fullest extent permitted by law. Arbitration is more informal than a lawsuit in court. And I'm just going to summarize this entire paragraph by saying what Experian is saying. When you go ahead and you dispute through their platform and you register, you log in, and you do everything the way that they want you to do it versus the old school, boring, traditional paper way, what you're agreeing to by using that digital platform to dispute is you have now waived your right to go ahead and litigate to the fullest extent by law. The only thing that you can do, like worst case scenario, is if you have a problem with Experian, is you have to go to arbitration. And you already know arbitration is not the same thing as going to court with a jury. They're two different things. The severity, they're not the same. So what Experian is trying to get you to do is go the easy way, go the easy route, because they know that if they mess up, if they do a mistake, if they do anything crazy, the only thing that's going to happen is arbitration, which they'll probably do some like settlement very quietly, and then they'll just keep it pushing. We need to be mindful of this. Number one, that's number one, why we don't want to use their systems to be doing disputes. You don't want to waive your right to prosecute or to go after these companies if they do something wrong. And what do I mean about like a credit bureau doing something wrong? What do I mean by that? All right, so what happened with TransUnion? TransUnion sued in federal class action for continuing to misreport innocent consumers as terrorists on credit reports despite previous punitive damages verdict against it for similar reporting. Let's read this. Lawsuit comes after TransUnion lost two jury trials regarding the company's reprehensible failure to use adequate identifying information. This is huge. Whether you're aware of it or not, these credit bureaus, especially Equifax, I know in 2017 there was a huge lawsuit and settlement where I think it was like 80 million, or it might have been even more. People's social security numbers, their addresses, their personal information was breached, and Equifax had a leak where millions of people had their information just leaked out, right? And lawsuits happen. So from the beginning of the inception of the FCRA, I can spend another hour going over example after example after example where the credit bureaus are moving very funny. They are behaving in a manner that is unprofessional. They are not communicating. They are leaving erroneous and information on credit reports and having to be sued over it. Like I can give just Google it if you're ever bored. Trust me, there's a lot. So the point is, number one, do not do the online easy way of doing things, because the only thing that you're doing, yes, you actually may get things taken off. You may get things taken off, but let me also show you this. Okay, so I am on the consumer.ftc.gov website. I'm not going to read everything again, but this is the area where they're talking about the reinvestigation of disputed items. And it's going through line by line how the credit reporting agencies, when we dispute something with them, they're supposed to, as I said before, they're supposed to come back and say, this is what we found. This is how we verified it. We did it this way. Here's our methods of verification. We called this person or we contacted this company. Therefore, this item shall remain on the credit report, or this item shall be deleted. There's a process of doing it. What you're doing when you go through the online way of doing things, you are giving them an out. You are giving them an easy way out. So now when they either delete an item online for you within a matter of minutes. And again, think about what what way would they be able to verify something within a matter of hours? This is like all digital. Like this is fake verification. This is phony verification. So what we need to do not buy into the idea and the concept of this is easy. We're not looking for easy, we're looking for effective. The main things that I want you to understand, and this video could be a lot longer, but I want to keep this short. The main thing that you need to understand, yes, you may be able to get items taken off of your credit report doing it digitally, but you are waiving the right to pursue and go to a jury if need be. These credit reporting agencies are creating an environment that's easier for them, not easier for you. Number two, you want to make sure that you have a track record for everything that you sent. This is the second reason why I'm not a fan of the online method of dispute and why I personally like the old school way of paper. The old school way of paper, I can print out my disputes, I can have it dated, and then I can go to USPS, I can have it mailed certified mail, and then I'm going to have records for myself of when I sent it out, when it was received, who signed it. I have all this information for myself. Why do I want that? If the credit reporting agencies, after that 30-day period, which the FCRA is granting them to come back after their investigation, and technically speaking, it's more like 35 days or so, but let's just say 30 days. If they don't respond in 30 days or in the time that was allowed by the FCRA, and I have my documentation and I take them to court, I look way better than someone who's trying to do the same and they have nothing in writing, they have no records of anything except they went online and they clicked the button a couple of times. Like just picture that. Picture two people in a courtroom. One person has a stack full of letters. Actually, you know what? Let me pause that and I can actually show you what I mean. Okay, I just had to do a quick sidebar because I actually wanted to show you what I mean when I say United States Postal Service, certified mail. This is a website that I use. I'm not affiliated with, I don't get kickback with. Matter of fact, if somebody can probably provide me an alternative so I can try them out. The reason why I like this company is I'm able to take my PDFs of what I would normally send out myself. I'm able to upload it through this system and then they mail it out on my behalf. The main reason why I like this is because of this. I'm able to see, as I was saying just a second ago, I'm able to see when I sent it out. I'm able to see when it arrived in Chester, Pennsylvania. I'm able to see who signed on behalf of TransUnion. It was, I guess this was Laney or Lorraine Wilson. Can't really read the handwriting, but as I was saying before, if I had to go to court, if I had to go to court, and I have 3, 4, 5, 6 months of my dispute letters, and on top of my dispute letters, I have 6 copies of the United States Postal Service that shows like all this information, and I'm coming and I'm making my case of what I want done or what I want removed off of my accounts, and there's somebody, behind me or beside me, they're wanting to do the same thing, but they don't have any of this. They just say, oh, well, I went online and I hit the dispute button and it didn't work. Or I hit the dispute button and it was deleted and it came back. It came back on my report. That collection came back or that charge off came back on my report. So now I'm trying to fight it. If the only thing that you have is just your word of mouth or like a screenshot of an Experian portal, you're like, this is where I want you to like just really think critically. Like think of how the court system works. The more evidence you have, the better and easier it is for you to get what you want. That is just the name of the game, right? So that is point two. And then lastly, I'll end with this. So very quickly as a recap, the first, you're waiving your rights to be able to litigate to the fullest extent. We don't want that. They've been doing shady things since the inception of the credit reporting agencies coming together, since the inception of the FCRA since the inception of my FICO being created in 1989. These credit reporting agencies are not your friend. Period. Point blank. They're not your friend, so do not engage with them as if they are your friend. Everything needs to be in writing. Period. That's number one. Number two, we need that track record. We need that track record of everything that we've sent out. We need it in whether it's digitally, like me, in the case of I can go on a website and see everything I sent out, which really I need to print this out for myself anyway. If I really, really, really want to be like super on it, I can just download everything and print it out and just keep that in my office somewhere. But if I need to go to court, if I need to do a dispute, if I need to hire a lawyer to do anything, I have dozens and dozens of items here for me that I can print out that has timestamps of everything, that has the verbiage of everything that I've been trying to communicate with collection agencies, with the credit reporting agencies. I have this. If you only do credit karma disputes, what do you have to show if it really came down to it? And then lastly, this is what I see. Um, This is what Equifax has on their site, which is to me funny. Can I add a statement to my Equifax credit report? If you disputed an item and the investigation did not resolve the dispute, you have the right to add a brief 100-word statement to your Equifax credit report, free of charge, explaining the nature of your dispute. Once again, these are the bureaus trying to be polite and trying to be nice and trying to be our friends. We can now add 100-word reason and statement on this derogatory item. Number one, this is BS. It's BS because if you try to get a credit card, if you try to apply for pretty much anything that's not a home loan or an auto loan, all of the systems go through automated underwriting, which means it's going through a computer system. So if you have a derogatory item, it's going to be classified as a derogatory item, and you're likely going to get denied before any person, any real life person, is even going to be able to read this brief 100-word statement. No one's reading this. And hopefully you already watched my video on FICO 10T where I talked about the trending data. They don't want manual underwriters because that's expensive. It's expensive to have somebody sit in a chair and highlight every little item. They don't want to do that. These companies are teaming up with FICO to make automated systems, to make super genius computer systems so that a computer system is making decisions very quickly without human interaction. Human interaction is expensive. Having automation, having computers is efficient and it's more cost effective. Okay, so having a 100-word statement is not going to do anything if you're trying to get a card. If we're going to be doing this credit restoration, if we're going to be doing this credit repair journey seriously, we don't want 100-word comments and statements on our credit reports. We're not doing any of that. We're doing this to get rid of our items completely, completely. And how do we do that? We do that through the FCRA. We do that by sending hard copy letters. United States Postal Service certified mail. We send that out with the appropriate language that specifies what needs to be verified, how they need to be verified, and if the credit reporting agencies cannot do that, it needs to be deleted. That's what it is. We're not negotiating when it comes to this. We don't want to play with the credit reporting agencies. We want to get our items taken care of and removed so we can get the loan that we want, so we can get the business that we want, so we can get the home that we want. Whatever it is that we're trying to do, we don't want to do an automated dispute. It gets declined immediately, and then they allow us to put 100-word statement on our credit profile. It's BS. All right. That is the end of this video. I could have gone even deeper into FCRA, but I've given you at least about 3 or 4 different reasons why it just doesn't make sense in the long term to do it the easy way. And if you want to be like halfway lazy about it, there are services out there that will send it on your behalf. If you can't go to the postal service yourself, there are other options, but do not do it the easy way because we already know there's nothing in life where the easy way is the best way to do it. Like we already know that, like with everything. So when it comes to disputing, when it comes to interacting with the credit reporting agencies, it's the same thing. All right. Let's do it the right way and not the easy way. And that's the video for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave some comments down below. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say about this. So once again, this is Joel from the Money Codes, and I will check you out in the next video. Peace.